So I just wanted to talk about that concept of control, that thing that we, whether consciously or subconsciously, are always going after. And of course I believe it's because we as humans, like any animal, don't like uncertainty. So we go after control, and we believe that the more we have control of things and the more we believe or we buy into the idea that we can have total control, the more we want to control and the more power we think we accumulate, but that in reality, we actually become more and more and more out of control. So it's kind of ironic. And I'm exploring the concept of control as holding tightly onto something versus gaining more control by letting go. And I think there's really something to be said for the concept of letting go. Now, what do I mean by, you hear this all the time, just let it go, don't worry about it. And that's all well and good, but if you don't understand what that means in real terms, it's only so helpful, and frankly, it's kind of irritating to hear when you're already really pissed off. So, this is what I mean. I'll do my best to explain at least my definition of letting go. So, let's start by defining control, and we'll move into letting go. All right? So, control is this belief that you are able to have a determination of the outcome. Okay? You can determine the outcome of any given situation. All right? Just by your being, your persuasion, what have you, you are able to influence the final outcome in your direction, okay, to your benefit. All right? I got my cat in the background. Hi, Mr. Bunny. And so it's this belief that we can control the outcome, that when we do receive the positive feedback, in the sense that, yes, something went our way, we believe that we are powerful, okay? And so we repeat what we've done because we are able to reduce that sense of uncertainty because we're becoming more confident in our ability to control an outcome. So we use the same method again, and we try to amass more and more and more power and control. Well, what happens when we don't have something go our way and we have exercised the same methods and they haven't worked? Then we have to really ask ourselves, how much control do we really have? And some people, they freak and they start spinning and they try to grab on even harder, in order to get their way or what have you. And the thing is that that's really very, very, very much just ego-based. It's somehow saying to yourself, the outcome determines who I am, how powerful I am, how worthy of a being I am. That's all that is. That's all tied up in like your lower brain, ego. All right? Now, your sense of self should be, ideally, in my opinion, wholly intact inside of you, always there, with a concept of knowing who you are. And if you don't know who that person is, I fully encourage you to find out. Because if you don't find out, someone else will find it for you. And you're probably not going to feel really good about that result. And so when we think about positive and negative feedback, whether it's, positive, negative reinforcement, because action, reaction, we like the outcome, and we think that that concludes by our ego that we are powerful, okay? Or action, reaction, we dislike the outcome, and we think, oh, that concludes that we are powerless or less powerful, okay? But here's the thing. If you've got that intact sense of self, all right, it doesn't really matter what external feedback is being given to you. There's often the concept of, you hear people say, oh, don't listen to negative feedback, it's negative vibes, and yada, 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 right? Okay, I agree with that, in the sense that it should not affect your sense of self, assuming you know who that is. Well, then the thing is that the same should be true with positive feedback. If you get a reinforcement or you get positive feedback that says, oh my God, you're so amazing, or oh, you're so powerful, or whatever it is, take it with a grain of salt. Because in the end, you are who you are no matter what you achieve. You are who you are. And you need to, deal with that and be that person and not let external circumstances, sway the judgment of that person inside of you, okay? Because the thing is if you rely solely on external feedback for self-validation, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're riding an emotional roller coaster. And honestly, how many of us have done that? I've done that. I'm terribly guilty of that. I know lots of other people are as well, So I think it's really important to not let whatever people say, positive or negative, affect you in such a way that your self-image is impacted, okay? Excuse me, I have a little cold that I'm trying to get over. So then as we move in to the concept of letting go, all right, now that I've sort of explained control and ego and attachment to outcome, if we consider letting go means, yes, do your best and leave the rest. That's the simple version, okay? So say you want promotion X, for example. That's something I think that's really common for a lot of people. And you're working on that promotion, okay? And you feel like you're the best candidate. Heck, other people are even telling you you're the front runner, right? Okay? Well, you go through the interview, they do their process, what have you, and you find out they didn't pick you. Okay? Now, at that point, you have a choice, or you can say, all right, I guess this means I'm a loser. I guess I'm not good enough. I guess I'm not worthy. I guess all kinds of things that basically are, proverbially crapping on yourself. Do you know what I mean? So your whole sense of identity now has been wrapped up in getting that promotion or not, And really, not a darn thing has really changed about who you are, but you have let that outcome define you. All right? And at the same time, had you gotten that promotion, it wouldn't have made you a better person either. For whatever reason, they picked you. For whatever reason, they didn't pick you. It doesn't really change who you are. So what I'm saying is, work hard, but don't attach your ego to the outcome of any given situation. And I think that you will be able to let go. Because you can feel good that you gave your best, you did your best, and you can rest, knowing that you gave all you could. If there's things to learn, great. But you know what? It doesn't change who you are. So still, walk away feeling good about you, who you are, and who you are in this world, and what makes you you, because there's not a darn thing wrong with it. You are who you are, and that's a beautiful thing. And I guess that's really the message that I wanted to bring across today, because I think a lot of us suffer from that concept of letting external feedback define who we are as people. And it's really something unfair to do to yourself. It's kind of like a version of self-harm, because you just don't really respect yourself when you do that. And so I'd really encourage you, if you don't know who that person is inside, I encourage you to, read what you can read, write down, what you think your strengths are, write down what you think your weaknesses are, whatever it is, just get in touch and figure out who is that person, because really your life depends on it. Because if you don't, you're going to live in this constant state of emotional flux where someone else can define for you so easily who you are, and that makes you a prisoner. And I believe that if you truly want to have freedom in your life, know thyself. Number one, no matter what, know who you are. and realize in that knowledge, you have achieved step one, and that's the big step. You know, it's always like everybody says, the first step is the hardest. It is, okay? It may take a while, but it's worth the journey. And then after that, and hopefully in the process, you discover what you're passionate about, what you love, what brings you joy. And then you know what? Don't make excuses for why you can't do what brings you joy. Don't use your house, don't use your kids, don't use, whatever it is to say that you can't be creative enough in that supercomputer brain of yours, and that gigantic heart of yours. You're not going to convince me that you're not with capacity, that you're not capable enough of finding a way to live your dream, of living your passion, of bringing about joy in your life in little ways and big ways, okay? Because honestly, do you want to live the rest of your life miserable? Just working a job you hate? What is that going to do for yourself? What is that going to do for your children? There's a lot of people using children as an excuse for not having joy in their life. I mean, that's a terrible burden for a child to have to hear, to have to feel, to have to know. I mean, as a child, you want to think, well, because my parents have me, they can't be happy. I mean, that's not good. You could see where that's going to end up. And I mean, thank goodness we have so many psychologists employed. But, I think a great way to save yourself and save your kids, and save a life today is to just go ahead and get in touch with who you are so you can define your self-worth so that nobody else can tell you who that is, and that your self-worth is not rocked by whether it be external positive or negative feedbacks or remarks, okay? That you follow your joy, you follow your passion, and you stop making excuses for not making it happen, okay? So that's what I really want to talk to you about today. And, last but not least, what underpins this entire concept that I've been talking to you about control versus letting it go, is this concept of uncertainty. We are animals, okay? And just like any other animal, we don't like uncertainty. We don't like uncertainty of food resources, of shelter, uncertainty in environment. Look at our whole society. It is set up to create greater levels of uncertainty. We're basically very fearful creatures, and we try to disguise that fear by creating greater and greater levels of certainty. Okay? And when we have that uncertainty and we're not sure how to create that certainty, that's when we sometimes go to other methods to create comfort for ourselves, okay? So whether it's stuffing food in our mouths, whether it's entertaining ourselves so that we can check out from that fear, or check out from taking a step towards creating the life that we want, or we make excuses, or what have you. So one of the core things I would also like to share with you and ask you to consider, excuse me, ask you to consider creating more acceptance in your life for, is the concept of uncertainty. Accept that there is uncertainty, and that's part of letting go, all right? When you try to control everything, you cannot accept that there is uncertainty in life. There is uncertainty in the outcome. There is uncertainty in the results, okay? And if we can accept that uncertainty is a given, it's never ever going to go away. It's not going to be eliminated. We can let go of control. We can do our best and leave the rest, and pat ourselves on the back for passing this test. All right? Love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for listening. And I'd love to hear, how you feel that concept of control has affected your life, and maybe even how you have found a way to let go, and your stories, your journey of going from believing you could control everything into letting go, and how that has positively impacted your life. Because I think, sharing those kind of stories are really, really useful for a lot of people who may be questioning right now if that's the right move for them to make. And I think hearing those stories of encouragement are really, really wonderful tools for all of us. And, since we're all connected and we're often very fearful about talking about those things we're afraid of, or even being in the beginning stages of moving from trying to control things so much versus letting them go, it can be scary. It's uncertain. Again, we're coming back to uncertainty. A lot of uncertainty there, so you're afraid to share. I encourage you here, open up, share it, let people know that you're doing it, you're afraid, but you're doing it. That's courage. Courage is not an absence of fear. Courage is feeling that fear and doing it anyway. So again, thank you so much for listening. Please share your thoughts, and I look forward to your feedback. Okay, bye-bye for now.